Hey guys, I'm Mary and welcome back to my channel. As you may have guessed from the title of this video, this is the start of a vlog in which I'm doing a blind date with a book. So, as an explanation of what that means, I was in my local Barnes & Noble recently browsing for other books, and I noticed they had a display that was a blind date with a book display, and they had a bunch of books all wrapped up in this like brown paper, and they had like the genre written on them and some blurbs about them. So I was browsing that display and I found two that sounded interesting. So I decided to get them and do a vlog about it. So unfortunately they did not have any fantasy options at all on the shelf. So fortunately there will not be a fantasy book in this video, but I got a mystery and a romance, and so I have not opened them yet. So let's see what they are. So the first one I'm going to open is the mystery. This is kind of what it looks like. We have kind of the genre, a little illustration, and some handwritten blurb. And so this is what the blurb says. A Cherokee man is murdered not long after our main character purchases pottery from him. This affecting series launch provides all the best elements of a traditional mystery. Well-drawn characters complement a plot with an intriguing twist or two. So this one sounded interesting to me just because I like the elements of a traditional mystery. I thought that sounded interesting, as I've realized I like closed circle mysteries a lot, which is kind of a traditional format. So it sounded interesting. I have absolutely no guesses as to what this is. It could be one I've heard of, could be not. I'm pretty sure I haven't read it based on the blurb, so we'll find out. All right. Right, I have not heard of this before. It's called The Book of Candlelight by Ellery Adams. This is what it looks like. I've never even seen this cover before, much less the title, or never heard of this author either, so a total mystery. I think for this vlog I'm not going to read the actual blurb on the back. I think I'm just going to go off of what's on the paper, and I'm not going to look them up on Goodreads beforehand either. I think I'm just going to keep it to just what I know from the blind date paper. So this is our first book. It's also, again, the first in the series. The series is called A Secret Book and Scone Society Novel. So that tells me this might be more of a cozy mystery. And I have been interested in picking up another cozy mystery to kind of try the genre out a little bit more. All right, so book one. All right, book two is a romance. And so I was intrigued by this illustration, this like little potion. So intriguing. This is what this one says. With indifferent parents, our main character grew up craving devotion and acceptance. From her maternal grandmother, she learned where to find both, a land of lush forests, dazzling lakes, and centuries-old legends. A tale where ancestors' blood and magic have flowed through generations and where her destiny awaits. So this one sounded like it might have a little bit of like a magical element to it. I don't know if it's going to be like a paranormal romance or just kind of like a little bit like a dash of speculative, more so than like full paranormal, but I was definitely intrigued. So again, I also don't have any guesses on what this one is. And again, I hope I haven't read it. It doesn't sound like anything I've read, so let's find out. Right, a Nora Roberts book. Okay, so this one I have in fact heard of this author, but I have not read this book, so good start. This is also looks like it's book one of the series, book one of the Cousins O'Dwyer trilogy. So this is my romance blind date. All right, so here are two options. My first impressions are, this is definitely not one I probably would have picked up based on the cover, because again, it kind of looks and sounds like it might be a cozy mystery, and I'm not anti-cozy mystery, but I've only read two ever, and I didn't love them. I have been intrigued to try another one or two just to really feel it out. So one of the ones I read was a book club book that I did not have say in, right? It was just one I had picked up, so it would not have been one I would have picked up for myself within the cozy genre, I think. And the other one was like a freebie Kindle, which I feel like could probably be hit or miss just by nature of being a free Kindle book. So I've definitely been interested in picking up another one. Hopefully this one will be better. But yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by this one. And then this one, I've heard of Nora Roberts. I have been intrigued more by Nora Roberts. I think I read one of her books and thought it was okay, but based on hearing Mara, books like we'll talk about how much she likes Nora Roberts. I've been intrigued to kind of find another one to pick up, so I'm definitely excited that I can now try another one. And I have not heard anything about this Nora Roberts specifically, so I have really no impression of this specific book, but I'm definitely excited to try a Nora Roberts book. See if this one does it better for me than the other one I read by her. So, I do not know yet which one I'm going to read first. I don't. So, I guess we'll see how I like them. Okay, so I'm about 100 pages into the first book for this vlog, which is about, I think, a third of the way in or so, and so far I like it. It's a cozy mystery, which is pretty much my only expectation I had once I picked this up, like yesterday, was cozy mystery, and it's definitely that, and yeah, I like it so far. One thing that's interesting is there kind of seems to be some, like, undercurrents, or, like, rumblings of something maybe a little paranormal being the explanation for the mystery, which I don't know if that's just because I'm reading this coming off of reading several horror books and my mind is just wired that way, or if that's what's happening, because I definitely wasn't expecting paranormal in a cozy mystery, but I'm also not super familiar with cozy mystery as a subgenre, so maybe that's more normal than I expected, but yeah, we'll see. So I'm now about 2/3 of the way in, about 200 pages, and so I figured I'd check in again, and I think I'm liking it less than I was at the first check-in. So plot-wise, it seems like a secondary mystery plot has been started, and currently it feels like it's unrelated to, like, the main murder plot, but I'm also, like, kind of expecting it to get tied together, just because, like, that's just kind of what I would assume, is they're all tied together, but at this point I can't see how they'd be related, so I'm definitely interested to see how that turns out. So, like, the actual mystery plots I'm definitely still interested in, but I think I'm liking it less because I just feel like I wish the mystery plots, like, just both of them combined, took up more page time. And so this was kind of true when I checked in the first time, but it was still the beginning of the book, so I was, like, giving it a pass. I was like, if we're still in the beginning, it'll pick up, but it didn't really feel like it's picked up as far as amount of page time I'm getting on the mystery. And I do think, like, right before I stopped, it did feel like it's starting to pick up kind of for, like, the ending. But it felt like a little bit too little too late. I just wish I'd had more of the mysteries on page earlier in the book, and that's losing me just a little bit. I'm definitely not hating it. I'm still enjoying it fine, but I just think I'm enjoying it a little less because I just kept waiting to get back to the mystery, and it just, like, took longer than I wanted to do that. So I will check back in again when I have finished it. Okay, so I have finished this book, and the last third was definitely my favorite third of the book because it was definitely the most mystery heavy, and I did enjoy the mystery storyline. It kind of had different things coming together in ways I didn't expect, and, like, it had some twists that got me, and that's, like, the one thing I really want the most out of when I read mystery or thrillers is, like, I want it to surprise me somehow, and this one definitely did, so definitely props for that. Unfortunately, the first half felt very mystery light, and I just, like, wasn't into what else was happening because it felt like outside of the mystery, the book focused on a lot of mundane minutia. I just felt tedious and boring. Like, there were a couple things that I kind of, like, gave the benefit of the doubt, you know, didn't judge too harshly because I felt like things that I would have cared more about if I had read books 1 and 2 in this series, because this is book 3, and while it can be read as a standalone, like, the main mystery is completely self-contained, there was, like, some, like, character storylines that I think I would have enjoyed more if I had been attached to them from the first 2 books, like the main character and her boyfriend storyline kind of thing, so I'm kind of giving those things a pass, but there were some things that I just, like, found boring, like, so our main character owns a bookstore, which I like, I like that part. So, and in her bookstore, she does bibliotherapy, which is a really interesting concept, and I did like that was part of what she did. However, the author got so detailed, like, there were several different, like, random townspeople customers coming in, doing, like, a little bibliotherapy meeting, and, like, I didn't need to know the full 7 book list that our main character sold these townspeople that really had no impact at all on the story. Like, it just got to a point where I felt like the author was just name-dropping books to be like, look how well read I am, and, like, didn't like that. And there was also other situations that had that similar level of kind of just minutia feeling, and just going into, like, too much detail on, like, what they ate at lunch, when, like, I'm just like, they're at lunch, I don't care the exact specific raspberry and blueberry jam they put on their pancakes. So that was just kind of boring, especially because I felt like the first half didn't have a ton of page time on the mystery, so getting to those minutiae, I was just like, oh my god, just give me the mystery. I think I could have ignored it better if the mystery got going more quickly. Also, there were some things, like some sentences that the author kept sneaking in, and this kind of petered off in the second half. This was more of a first half thing, that felt like the author put them in just to show how progressive she is. It's like you can make your character come off as like feminist or progressive without shoehorning in a really out of place sentence where there's this like vandalism that happens and the police deputy is like, I am a feminist, so I'm offended when people say the B word. I'm like, you didn't have to like spell it out like that. It just felt jarring. So I didn't like that part of the writing. I will say, so this is the third cozy mystery I've read, and I haven't really liked the other two. This one I've liked the best of the three. And one thing I really didn't like about the other two was I got so fed up with the main characters who are like not policemen investigating in ways that I felt was like actively obstructive to the police investigation. I was just like, just want to be like, just let them investigate. This one didn't annoy me in that way. So definitely props to the author for however she wrote that, because it was the same thing. Like, our main character isn't a police woman and she's doing some level of her own kind of behind the scenes investigation, but it didn't like annoy me like the other two did. So like definitely props to the author for pulling that off better. That's something that I acknowledge is like how cozy mysteries work, and was making me think maybe no, cozy mystery as a genre will never work for me, but this made me think maybe some could work. So yeah, overall I think I'm gonna give it a 3-star. I don't know if I would, yeah, so overall I think I'm gonna give this a 3-star. I'm definitely glad I read this because I've been wanting to try a third cozy mystery. I don't know if I've completely written out the genre because I like this one better, and I did like the mystery aspect. I could see myself maybe trying another one. If anyone watching this likes cozy mystery and has any recommendations, definitely let me know. And maybe if I'm in the mood, I definitely have not written out the genre entirely, but I'm thinking it's probably not my type of genre. So I also read the back of the book for the first time after finishing the book because I was kind of wondering, I wonder how, like, if anything different was on the back that, like if the back had anything completely different that might have changed my expectations going into it. And mostly, no. There is, like, one thing. There was, like, something that came up in the book that I thought was, like, totally random. And I was like, what is this storyline? And it ended up being connected eventually in an interesting way, but the back of the book actually does mention that thing, and so, like, if I had read the back of the book, I would have gotten that part and been like, oh, that's the thing that mentioned in the summary. All right, I'm excited to see how it connects instead of wondering if it would connect. But, like, that's not a big deal. Overall, I do think the way the bookseller wrote the blind date with the book pitch was, like, a pretty good pitch for it. So, yeah, despite only giving this a 3-star, I do think this was a successful first book of my blind date with a book, because, I mean, the blind date got me to read something different that I wouldn't have read, and I definitely didn't hate it, so I would call that a success. So, on to the next book. Alright, y'all, I think this vlog might be a failure because I am DNFing the second book. I didn't even do a check-in on it. I'm like a little over halfway, and I hit the halfway point and was gonna stop and check in. I just like didn't have any strong thoughts to say about it, like negative or positive. I was just kind of like, I've read half of it. So I decided not to check in. I'm like, I'll just check in at the end. But I think I'm going to DNF it instead of finishing it. It's been like a week of me reading it. And for like a romance that's not that long, like that's pretty long for me. And at first I thought it was just I didn't have as much time to read last week, which is definitely a factor of some amount. There was definitely 2 nights last week where I really didn't have as much reading time as I usually do. But I definitely did have reading time other than that. Enough that I could have gotten farther into it if I cared to pick it up. There was a lot of time I spent not reading that I could have been reading, and if I'd enjoyed it better, probably would have been reading. And then last night, I decided to put it down and pick up a romance I had on my shelf just for a change of pace. I blew through that in like 5 hours, so I was like, maybe it's not me. Maybe it is this book, because clearly I have the mental capacity to sit here for 5 hours and read an entire book. And then today, when I was like coming after work to like pick it up to continue with this one, I was just like, I just don't want to. I've been pushing through, telling myself I liked it more than I did because I didn't want to DNF a book I was reading for a vlog. But I did, and here's the thing. I was just bored. Like, there isn't any particular aspect of this book that I can point and be like, I hated this, and thus hated the book. I was just bored. I didn't care much about the plot or the characters, and I think Nora Roberts' writing style also just doesn't do it for me. I don't know how to describe it, but it feels... I don't know how to describe her writing, but I think it just doesn't work for me I don't know. It's just, I was just bored. That's it. Like, that's the thing. I just like don't have a lot to say about it to even explain why. I just was bored, and that's like the end of it. So I'm gonna DNF it. I was really trying to finish it because I was reading it for a vlog, and I did purchase it. And like, I don't like not finishing books I purchased too, which is why usually I've been trying to be better about the books I purchase, so I don't encounter this. But again, blind date with book, didn't know what book I was purchasing. So unfortunately, maybe Nora Roberts just might not be the writer for me. I think I finished one of her other books a couple years ago and gave it like a 3, and then DNF this one. She will be getting a third and possibly final chance later this month because I am reading one more of her books for a book club read. And that one's as a romantic suspense, and this was kind of a paranormal contemporary, and the other one I read was contemporary. So maybe her romantic suspense will be the subgenre that she just kills it with for me. So we'll see. So yeah, in summary, we DNF'd one book and gave 3 stars to the other. So like, I guess this vlog was a failure, but like, I had a good time with it. Like, I definitely, like, going into the blind date with the book concept, I knew there'd be a good chance I wouldn't like the book. Because, like, I don't know what the books are, right? Like, I don't know the authors. I specifically didn't look up ratings on Goodreads after I unwrapped them. Because, again, once I unwrapped them, I purchased them, right? At that point, I was all in. Didn't look up reviews or anything. I just went in blind. And so I knew there was definitely a chance I wouldn't love them. So, I don't know. It feels like this vlog was a failure, but I don't really think it was. I think I definitely would also be down to try Blind Date with the book again. I'd maybe be more inclined if, like, a library did it. Because I have done this once before back when I was in high school. My high school library did it. And actually, remembering then, I think I DNF'd that book too. Maybe I shouldn't do a blind date with a book again. Maybe it's just not a good idea for me. Maybe I shouldn't try again. But we'll see. Yeah. That was my blind date with a book vlog. Unfortunately, not quite as interesting as I had hoped, but it was still an entertaining project, and I'm glad I tried it because it did get me to try 2 books that I wouldn't have otherwise. And while I didn't like them, but I think still trying different books still helps you to know better what you do like. So we'll see. But yeah, anyways, I will see you in my next, hopefully more successful video.